people define themselves by themselves. So we got left with the last term, which is black people. Now, because of our unique history, and it's a very troubled history when it comes to interaction with Europeans, one of the things that we did to defend ourselves was to start, it's like how some ignorant people reclaim the N-word. So we decided, look, you know, black, and it took this move, Negro, coloured, black, we have to give it a positive value. And there's a whole lot of fantastic work. Some of those songs there, To Be Young, Gifted and Black, Black and Proud, James Brown, some beautiful, beautiful songs that say that, look, you might call us black, but we're proud of it, and that's who we are. The issue is, we're not black. I'm brown. Yeah, I mean, we've got to be real here. And so black is clearly a code for something. It symbolises something, but it's not reality. It's the same thing like Europeans are not white. So you go back to that system. So what does the black symbolise? And black symbolises, you go to the dictionaries, you know, wickedness, corruption, bad luck, black sheep, that stuff. And what does white symbolise? Well, you know, purity, goodness, virtuousness and stuff. And so there's no incentive for Europeans to dismiss white. There's none, because they've got the best colour, if you think of it in that kind of term. There is every incentive for Africans to give them the black, but because of our history where we've been fragmented so much, it causes, well, hold on, there are many Africans who don't know they're Africans. They'll be like, well, I'm from the Caribbean, I've got nothing to do with Africa. Or I'm from Brazil, you know. I'm from Mexico, or so this causes this almost schizophrenic schism. And so the one unified term that people fall back to is black. But then in England, in the UK, black is a political term. So what happens is that you have a situation where, okay, when Asian people came to the UK, they were oppressed in similar ways to African people. So let's unite and let's fight oppression, and we'll be black together. And it worked, and there was this level of solidarity. It's split now, because now, and I don't know if you heard the term BME, has everyone heard that term BME? Black and Minority Ethnic. So there was all this buzz council phrase, BME. And now that's actually changed. It's now BAMA, which is Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic. No.
Refugee.
Refugee. Yeah. And so the black thing keeps changing, but what's happening? People don't want to be black anymore. So everyone's jumping out of the black label, and the only people living there are African people. Now, one of the consequences of some of those days of action was that when African History Month was instituted, funding came, and we're going to go to another panel about that. Funding came, and funding meant that people could have cultural activity. And so a lot of people said, oh, hold on, there's money to be had. I'm black. So you had the Irish community who were facing extreme oppression in the UK. You know, with terrorism, they were being suspected, stopped in the city of London. I mean, it was terrible how they were being treated. So they became politically black. You had people, you know, recent migrants, oh, I'm black. And so you have this contention that, well, hold on, are you black, or are you kind of like black? and so, I know it's a long-winded answer to your question, but it is this. So what's happened since in the last, I don't know, 5-6 years? There's been a fight back. I mean, it's not actually, that's disingenuous. Malcolm X probably is one of the famous persons who started this. Malcolm, you all know Malcolm X, right? Malcolm X started off with Negro, and if you listen to his early speeches, and then he moved. Malcolm was a very bright, he's one of my role models, so he was a very smart thinking. If he made a mistake, he admitted it. A lot of leaders, a lot of activists, sometimes they get entrenched in their views, they won't change. Malcolm started off with Negro, moved to coloured, went through black, and then just before he was assassinated, he set up the Organisation of African American Unity. And this is because he'd gone to Africa, and he realised he's an African. And he recognised, oh, what's this nonsense? Now, you've got to remember, Martin Luther King was around at that time, and they were using the language of Negro rights. So in America, you had this fight between are we Negroes or are we black? And Malcolm was saying, well, we can use those terms, but we're Africans. And the people in America were, whoa, we're Americans, we're black Americans, we're Negro Americans, we ain't African Americans. That's kind of madness. And it wasn't until Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Coalition, he had an organisation called Push, and they started forcing the term African American. Even to this day in America, there are still African Americans who reject the term African Americans. Even though it's institutionalized and a lot of people recognize that it makes sense. I mean, like, when Obama was elected, there were African Americans saying, well, he's a real African American, but he's not like us, because he's an African, because his father was from Kenya and he's an American. But he's not like us. We're black Americans, because he hasn't had the same, so it was used in a divisive way. So that's a schism. But the reality, if we're honest, is that in America, since it's reached African American, the name changing has stopped. And it's stopped for a very long time. There's been no call to move away from African American. Yeah. In England, well, we just got past colour light maybe 10 years ago. And we're on the black phase, and there's an argument between black and African. But we're not here yet. We're not African British yet. We don't have that. And there's problems with that simply because our heritage in the UK is also, we have diasporic heritage. So we have Africans from the Caribbean who sometimes believe that if you call yourself an African, you're somehow rejecting that you're from Caribbean heritage. Do you know what I mean? So my partner's St. Lucia, so technically they're mixed race because my parents are from Nigeria, her parents are from the Caribbean, so my children were African. So this is the kind of schisms and madness that you get into. The reality is that they're African, but politically, it's like the N-word. I can call an African, and no one's going to challenge me because apart from other African, they don't really are African. But a council or a country, they can't call an African who's got diasporic identity an African because they're normally fearful there's going to be a backlash. So they stick to the safe option, which is black. They know if they use black in the papers, they're never going to go wrong. And so it's only mad people like me who start saying, yeah.